Continue with 68 kilogram using one mat now. They have 3 mats set up here in the wrestling pavilion. As competition continues, we will have matches on all of them at the same time, but we only have 3 weight divisions that began on this first competition day, the 52, 68, and the 100 kilogram weight classes, and it does not take that many mats to run off the competition with the 18 or so qualifiers that are in each of the divisions. We now go to our third match in this A pool. In the red singlet, Islam Doguchiev of the unified team will be going against Takumi Mori of Japan in the blue singlet. Mori lost his first match, Doguchiev victor in his, so this is a survival match for the Japanese wrestler and a continued advancement, no doubt, for Doguchiev, who is the better wrestler.
Doguchiev had a tough first round match against the Cuban, winning just 3-1. And Doguchiev has had tremendous success on the international level. He is defending world champion both in the 91 and 90 world championships. Got out slow out of the blocks, but I have a feeling here that he might be picking it up against Mori of Japan.
He's from Alma-Ata, now lives in the Republic of Russia. He's 26 years old, also won the European Championships in 1990, the same weight division. Mori, 28 years old, the elder of the two, but not necessarily as experienced. He was only 10th in the 1990 World Championships, is his only real success on the international mats. 4 minutes and 9 seconds to go. We're shortly approaching that 1 minute mark where we're going to see some sort of a passivity call.
It was Mori who had the hold and failed to do anything with it. Officials don't like that. If you take a hold, they make you use it. Otherwise, they say you're stalling. You're just trying to hold your opponent away from you. And that can result in that passivity call. Doguchiev just looks slow here, and he seemed to come on against the Cuban in the first match. Maybe that's his style of wrestling here at the games, but he's going to be hit with the passive call. Mori gets an opportunity in the parterre position now.
So that first passivity call coming from referee Tudor Grodev when he received confirmation from a mat judge or a mat chairman. The Japanese wrestler assumes that top position. It's called parterre. Well, Doguchiev comes right out. We're seeing a lot more of that. There was a time when you were penalized for trying to come out of the bottom. We're seeing wrestlers stand up much like the wrestlers in college, Jeff.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. Why let your opponent have a lock and get a free crack at turning you when you can just stand up and get out of the situation totally? And you're right, the old rules of wrestling used to make you sit there and take it, and if you tried to escape, they'd make you go back down there again. And so good tactic by Doguchiev.
Well, he's kept it close. 3 minutes and 14 seconds to go. The unified team, are we seeing much difference in the type of quality team that's being sent? We've seen the dominance of that old Soviet Union team over the last 20 or 30 years. They win 5 or 6 of the gold medals. Has there been enough time to really see any kind of a falling out of that talent?
I don't think so yet, Russ. Certainly the wrestlers that were in place in this quadrennium are still very capable of winning the world championships. And I think when you'll start to see that school, that Soviet machine, the ex-Soviet machine collapse, will be in 1996 and certainly in 2000. But these wrestlers are already prepared. Once you get to the world level and have success, you know what you need to do to continue to be successful, and it's just a matter of time.
Doguchiev again put in the parterre position, put down on the mat.
And he laughed. He laughed when the official gave him the passivity call again. He's wondering, why isn't Mori being passive? And he does a good job of countering. They're back to their feet. Mori unable to take advantage of this great opportunity against the defending world champion. And I don't know, oh, a nice duck under. He got a lock, but he was unable to score with it. Beautiful change of level, and that's just one of the many ways in wrestling, when you teach wrestling, to use as a tactic to get to your opponent.
Perhaps that head bump bothering Doguchiev.
Here comes Doguchiev's opportunity. Mori now hit with the passivity call. And Doguchiev chooses to put him in the down position. 99.9% of the wrestlers will choose to put their opponents down and try to turn them.
The Greco-Roman style of wrestling, I guess, more reflective of what was the original form of wrestling in the Olympic Games in ancient Greece.
The Pancretian was the first one, quite a free-for-all. Sometimes people died during that competition. And Doguchiev takes the lead 1-0 with a gut wrench that went hand-to-hand. And here he's going to be put back down for purposely putting his head out of bounds. You have to try to stay in bounds. If you deliberately go out in the down position or parterre position, they'll make you keep going. But you were talking about styles of wrestling. Here in America, the first thing we learn is what's known as folk style wrestling. You learn it in junior high school and definitely in high school and college, where you compete at it at the NCAA tournament. And there's a big difference in terms of the scoring criteria between international wrestling and our folklore style wrestling. It's very similar to freestyle, but not at all to Greco-Roman.
And we found in the past that one of the big differences right now in this parterre position down on the mat, the Europeans were consistently aggressive and did a great job of scoring with the lifts, and the American wrestlers had a tough time. We're seeing the Americans become very aggressive in this area and really develop the styles. Coaches are becoming familiar and doing the job.
Beautiful duck under by Doguchiev. And you're right, Russ, this is something where the Americans were weak in, and they have been practicing very hard. And I believe they are prepared in these games to deal with the lifts. We're down to just a minute left now. And time will tell. Time will tell.
I'll give him a little extra time to work in the top position.
Certainly USA Wrestling, the national governing body of this sport, has put into place programs at all age levels so that wrestlers get the experience in the international styles, and certainly expose them to Greco-Roman, where many people in this country never seen it before. And you get a coach that doesn't know upper body tactics. He says, hey, stay low, shoot on the legs. He can never throw you. We need to avoid that and just learn, educate. And I know we could have some great Greco-Roman wrestlers in this country. We always seem to have the better athletes. We just have to improve the school.
And I think most countries have to make that adjustment in style. Most cultures, I think I read one time there were about 118 or 120 different folk styles of wrestling in the world. The only two we have in the Olympic Games are Greco-Roman, what we're seeing here, the upper body, and the freestyle to come later. 7 seconds to go. Islam Doguchiev of the unified team out of Russia, winning this match 2-0, and he will take the victory here against Takumi Mori of Japan, and that will be the swan song for Mori. He is eliminated for the competition. That is his second loss, and Doguchiev continues to advance with no losses here in the second round.
He's winning ugly, Russ, but he's winning. Well, Doguchiev is the reigning world champion. His only points here was a takedown and this gut wrench, which gave him the initial lead, 1-0. Another look at it, a little bit closer. This is a perfect gut wrench. You drive your knee under him, and then you pop your hips through to force him to rotate across his back.